This is In the Loop. I'm Christian Bryant. Folks, this is a show with range, and we aren't afraid to cover untreaded or sometimes taboo topics. With that said, how much y'all make? Yeah, y'all heard me right. We're getting right into it. Some people have no problem with that question. Others are not super comfortable sharing that information. For years, talking about your salary has been seen as a question that's off limits. But as younger workers look to take more power over their work experience, many are now more open about what they earn. Survey data from the consumer financial services company Bankrate found that 40% of millennial workers and 42% of Gen Z workers have shared salary information with coworkers or professional contacts. Those rates are considerably higher than the ones they saw for Gen X and baby boomers. And according to Bankrate's Sarah Foster, economic crises like the Great Recession of 2008 and the COVID-19 pandemic play a role.
They really have learned that their pay opportunities have been significantly dented, so they have a little bit more of an incentive to talk about pay with other people who they work with.
And as companies build their own diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, pay transparency and equity are playing a role in that. The traditional pay structure can often leave workers of color behind. As an example, 2020 data from compensation software company PayScale found that for every dollar paid to white men, Black men earn 88 cents and Black women earn 76 cents. Even when you adjust for education and experience levels, Black men and women still trail slightly behind white men. Pay equity advocates hope that making salary discussions more open and including a salary range in job postings will help close the gap and put all workers on a more level playing field when salary comes up in the hiring process.
When you think about what it's like to interview for a position, and maybe a recruiter will ask you what kind of number you're looking for, as soon as you throw out a number, that essentially becomes your ceiling. So it's something that's very, very important to think about. And if you learn from other people in a certain position, if you learn from coworkers who might work in the position that, maybe you're applying for, or maybe a position you're already in, you have something that's tangible to base your ask on.
We're even seeing this translate into policy. Colorado's law, making it the first state in the country to require employers to post salary ranges for jobs, took effect last year. But we've also seen some pushback. In the aftermath of Colorado's law, companies including Nike, Oracle, and Johnson & Johnson put disclaimers on their remote work jobs saying that they would not consider remote workers based in Colorado. Nevertheless, states and cities are still pushing forward with pay transparency laws. In 2022, Washington State and New York City have joined them as the next two jurisdictions to put similar requirements in place, and California is one of several other states considering a similar law. All right, let's talk with someone who is helping spread the word about salary transparency. Joining us now is Hannah Williams. She's the founder of Salary Transparent Street. You might have seen it on social media, maybe TikTok, maybe Instagram. What she does is she asks people on the street to share their jobs and salaries publicly.
I'm a contractor.
And how much do you make as a contractor?
I make $96,000.
Hannah, thank you so much for joining us. One of the things that folks in journalism know is that sometimes it can be tough asking people, random people, questions on the street. Man on the street interviews is always, can be a difficult thing. How and why did you start interviewing people on the street?
It is very difficult. I've gotten a crash course in interviewing by doing this, but really, I just wanted to start having these conversations and make this commonplace. I think it's important to remove the taboo with these conversations, and there's so many benefits to be had from it. It's a very
interesting sort of and revelatory sort of experience here, watching you do this. What have you learned so far? Who is responding, and what exactly are they telling you?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. There's so many things that I'm learning just by being the person doing these interviews. There's a lot that I'm learning about demographics and who wants to have these conversations and who doesn't. You can kind of see in our videos, we have a lot more younger people than older people. And that's because we get a lot more no's from older demographics. And we get a lot of yeses from young women. over older men and older women, I would say are 50-50 for the no's, but we get like 75%, 25 men and women for the young generation. So I think that's very telling. But also most importantly, you really just can't judge people by their cover. I've never been able to guess correctly what somebody does or how much they make. And I think that's important. I don't think we should be judging anyone in that sense. What you make says nothing about your intelligence, your value, or what you bring to the table.
I'm guessing you're learning a lot there, because as I'm looking through, there's absolutely no way to tell, what it is that somebody does. I feel like I'm surprised with each interview. Why do you think this took off so quickly? How much has it grown since you started?
Oh my gosh, it took off the day that I posted our first video, April 16th. I remember very clearly. The first day we went out to film was the first day we posted. And I thought it would, get a little bit of traction, but it went immediately viral, like 5 million views. I think our first video has. Some of our videos have 22 million views. It's insane, the feedback we've gotten. And it's been really positive, which is great, because you never really know how people are going to take it. But I think it says something that we really need to start having these conversations, because the general public and society wants to have it. So we need to bring companies on board.
Big question here. What's next? And how do you think we'll see change going forward in conversations about salary and pay transparency? It seems like you're really kind of leading a campaign in this regard. But, what is it that you think we'll see going forward and people having these public conversations about what it is that they make?
Yeah, for the series, what's next is this summer, we're going to go on a national tour. So we're going to hit every single state, every capital city and surrounding areas. So that's where we're going next. But really, our entire mission is to really strike a chord with the public and encourage them to see the benefits of pay transparency and remove that taboo, so that they start having these conversations with their friends and family and their colleagues. And then the next step, which is my overarching goal and mission, is to get companies on board to see the value of pay transparency within organizations and companies, and get them to be pay transparent as well, because it shouldn't be our responsibility to get equally paid.
Just out of curiosity, do you know how many people you've talked to so far?
That's a great question. I've probably talked to less than 100, but it feels like 1,000.
Hannah Williams, she's the founder of Salary Transparent Street. Hannah, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.